Hello everyone, you are watching Indian Masterminds. Today we'll be talking to one of the finest IS officer, Mr. Pulkit Khare. Mr. Khare is an IS of 2010 batch and is currently the District Magistrate of Pilibhit. Pilibhit is known for its handmade bamboo flutes and of course the newly created Tiger Reserve. We'll discuss the challenges before him and how he is overcoming them. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. Thank you to the entire team of Indian Masterminds.
Okay, sir. So we'll take our first question. Since last few years, the flute makers are gradually abounding their work because of different reasons. How do you plan to revive this industry?
When I joined Pilibhit as district magistrate last year, it was then that I realized that most of the flutes that are supplied either to the musicians or to different fairs across the entire country come from Pilibhit. And it has been traditionally known as Bansuri Nagari, city of flutes. So
Yes, sir.
I was naturally very curious to know who are the flute makers, what is their condition, how are they doing and coping up in the times of COVID, and what is the plan ahead. So I went to the city area where there is a locality where these flute makers are concentrated. And I was told that traditionally there were more than 100 families, 200 families which were doing this business. But over the last 5 to 10 years, the numbers have dwindled. And as of now, there were only 40, 50 families who were continuing with this traditional craft of flute making. I interacted with them, I understood the entire process. The raw material for the flute, which is a particular type of bamboo, they receive this bamboo from Silchar. The business is not much remunerative, as they say nowadays, because different products from various other countries after globalization, they have taken over the market. And these families were struggling to find a good remuneration. So I had detailed discussion with them, especially there were a few youngsters in the family who were trying to go away from the business. So we worked on various alternatives. One was to reduce this transportation cost. My suggestion was, why not try and develop the same kind of bamboo over here in the Tarai region. So we are experimenting on that. We got that particular variety of bamboo from Silchar, the seeds of that variety, and we are trying to cultivate those bamboo here. And if it is successful, then a lot of transportation cost would be reduced. Another thing was that they have to come on the online platforms. The commercial outlets have to increase. As of now, it's the middleman who takes much of the products from them and goes on to sell it to the bigger markets in Delhi, Meerut, and other big centers. So my idea was to connect them to e-marketing platforms, e-commerce platforms. So we are working on that. We have designed a brand Pilibhit for the Bansuris, under which will be an umbrella organization, and we'll be linking it to all the major commercial sites, say Amazon, Flipkart, and all, so that globally people can order their products directly from these manufacturers, and they can get the due price from them. Another thing is we've collated a list of all the fairs wherever in the country they are being held. Till now, these Pilibhit Bansuri makers were only taking their flutes to the local fairs or say in the neighboring districts. But to increase their reach, it is important that we connect them to the tourism sector. So we are working on that also. We are in touch with other states, and wherever fairs are being held, we'll be sending a delegation of Pilibhit Bansuri makers there also. We'll be sending their products also. So all this will to stop the decline in this traditional art and craft, which is so unique to this place.
Okay. Okay, sir. So now I'll come to the Pilibhit Tiger Reserve. So it is one of the youngest in the country. So how do you plan to bring it to the international wildlife tourism circuits?
Yes, as you rightly said, it is one of the youngest tiger reserves, which became a tiger reserve officially in 2014. So it's just 7-year young baby, and many in the country, many people are not even aware of it. So was I when I joined the district. We know about the more famous ones, say the Corbett, Ranthambore, or even the Dudhwa, which is in the neighboring district. But PTR, or the Pilibhit Tiger Reserve as such, was unknown. So last year, after the first wave of COVID, when our tiger tourism season, which normally opens in November, opened up, we did a few things to increase the footfall of tourists. Firstly, it was important to approach the schools and colleges, not only in Pilibhit, but also in the neighboring districts. So we went to Bareilly, which is a bigger district close by. We approached all the schools. We invited them over to Pilibhit, just that we can increase the word of mouth publicity. Another thing we tried was running free vehicles, free of charge vehicles from different parts in the city, because there were many people who were part of the city themselves, who've been living in the city, residents of the city, but they've never visited the Tiger Reserve. So we tried to bring them here, and then through them we wanted to increase the publicity of PTR. Another thing we did was to increase the social media footprint. It was a medium by which large many people can come to know about it. So our idea was not only to market it as a tiger watching destination, but also the other beautiful things which are there in the reserve. There are a number of streams which crisscross the Pilibhit Tiger Reserve, number of other flora and fauna which are found in this reserve. So we started a campaign last year, which we again plan to do from November this year on the social media, having it separate Facebook page, Twitter account, using all the government official handles to tweet and retweet various photographs from the reserve itself. We also encourage the visitors to make their small videos, to make the small bites, and then we try to publish those videos also on the social media sites. These were a few steps which we took last year. And as I said, this year again, from 1st of November, Pilibhit Tiger Reserve is again opening for its next season. There are stay arrangements also here, so we are publicizing about them. There's a beautiful spot within the Pilibhit Tiger Reserve called as the Chuka spot. So if you Google about it, it's a beautiful place with huts within the forest area where you can come with your families, stay, and have a good jungle safari from there on. So we are trying to put all of this on the social media platforms this time around. We are also trying to have a few competitions and a fest over here, probably for a week. We'll be having it in sometimes in November, where we'll be inviting colleges from different cities. We'll be inviting bands, we'll be inviting academicians, photographers, so that more and more tourists get to know about this place.
Okay, sir. So Pilibhit Tiger Reserve is also setting examples in conservation. Like recently, it doubled the number of the tigers there, and it was recognized internationally for this. So what are your plans to protect the flora?
So, as you rightly said, there are very few tiger reserves in the entire world which have got this distinction of doubling the number of tigers. And recently, Pilibhit Tiger Reserve was awarded with the famous TX2 award, which is given by the UN bodies, WWF, in collaboration with them. And basically, because we were able to double the number of tigers in a 5-year period. This happens mainly because the environment over here is very protected. The forests are dense, and the tourist circuit is also very limited one. So we have not opened much of the forest for tourists. We've opened only a restricted portion of it for the tourists, so that the tigers feel safe in their habitat. And that has probably been one of the reasons that they have doubled. But yes, along with doubling, we've recently been facing the problem of man-animal conflict also, and which is a big challenge for the administration. This is basically because of the shape of the tiger reserve. The Pilibhit Tiger Reserve is in a horseshoe shape, which gives it a long perimeter. So around 800-kilometer perimeter lies in our district, and it touches around 72 villages. So we did an analysis there are many incidences where tigers are going to the nearby villages. They are hiding in the fields, especially the sugarcane fields. And when the farmers approach their fields, there have been many instances of man-animal conflict. In fact, if I talk about the data in the last 5 years, there were 21 such conflicts, 21 such deaths in which human beings lost their lives, sadly. And out of these 21, 12 happened in the sugarcane fields. So we did an analysis of that. We called some experts, the agricultural scientists, and they came to a conclusion that since sugarcane provides an ideal environment for tiger, it gives tiger an appearance of forest, plus the herbivores run and hide in the sugarcane fields. So the tiger often comes chasing that. And when the farmer goes to either harvest the field or to irrigate the field, then the man-animal conflict often happens. So this analysis we did around 8 to 10 months back. And then we started an intensive campaign. We decided to educate the farmers of these villages to move away from sugarcane, to diversify and move to some other equally remunerative crops. So we identified a few crops, for example, haldi, lemongrass, few vegetables, fruits. So these were identified, which were equally remunerative as sugarcane. And then we started visiting these 72 villages. We used to call the sugarcane farmers to these meetings. And this was basically to make them aware that since their field will always be there, the tiger reserve will always be there. So it is better that we replace sugarcane with something equally remunerative. So it's been over 8 to 10 months. And the good part was that many farmers understood our message, understood our appeal. We trained them with the other vegetables. On the field training was given to them. We included in our team few scientists from the Krishi Vigyan Kendra, and they were able to tell them how to move away from the sugarcane cropping. So the good part was that recently we did a survey again, a GPS-based survey, and we realized that because of this campaign that we have been running, around 3.5% area reduction in sugarcane farming we were able to achieve. So that was a good achievement, so to say, to begin with. And we'll be further carrying this on so that we can avoid this loss of lives that happens in the sugarcane fields.
So, like, we are still not free from the possibility of third wave of COVID-19. So what are the steps or efforts you are making to avoid the pandemic, like not the pandemic, but the third wave, or so it doesn't affect as much as the first and second wave affected the district?
Right. As you said, fingers are still crossed, and we are hoping, really hoping and praying that there is no third wave, but still precaution is very important. It is important that we keep our focus on prevention. We remain safeguard about this, that there is no third wave, there's no spread again. What we have done in recent 6 months is to ensure that our logistics are in place this time around. Many oxygen plants which were not there in the districts have opened up in the last 6 months. We have 4 full-fledged such plants now, and along with that, many oxygen concentrators. So these machines were not earlier available, but now in every rural CHC, the community health center, we have these machines and a separate ward. So in case anything happens, God forbid, even in the rural area, we can immediately have the availability of oxygen there. Along with that, an intensive education and awareness campaign is still going on. We have this dengue outbreak also recently. So along with dengue awareness, we were going to the villages. We were telling about COVID also, the COVID protocols also. Although people have become lax, but we try our bit that wherever in the markets, we keep announcing that follow the proper COVID protocols, COVID norms should be followed. So these are few things which we are doing. The testing has not dropped. We are still testing any case where even there is a slight suspect. There is a fever is persisting or any other symptom, we ensure
Hmm.
that immediately the tests are done. So the test numbers have not dropped. We are not
Hmm.
doing any laxity on that part. And our capabilities have increased. The team is also geared up. We have a regular 15-day meeting also to keep them on the toes that in case such outbreak happens after the festive season, we should be sufficiently ready for that.
Okay, sir. So at last, I would like you to give a message. Uh, Recently, UPSC 2020 results were out. Now they'll soon start their training, and in no time they'll be in the field. So, what would you like to advise them so that they become very good officers?
First of all, congratulations to everyone who cleared it this time
Mm-hmm.
around, and also best wishes to everyone who is aspiring or who is planning to appear or who could not make it for some reason this time around. We must always have that never say die attitude. When I was
Mm-hmm.
preparing, I had this written on my preparation table. I had this big
Okay.
placard which said never say die. There was another placard which said I chose it. So if we have chosen a
Mm-hmm.
field, we've chosen to study for UPSC, this means
Mm-hmm.
there is a desire to contribute to the society. So that desire should not end. And there may be some reasons you could not make it this times. You should work on that. You should always analyze what were the points where you went weak, where you could not score. And there's always a next time. So that never say die attitude is very important, not only in preparation, but later on also, because when we come to the service, each day is not same. There are days which are very challenging. There are days which put you off, where what you planned does not come through. So you have to motivate yourself each time. It's a general lesson for life. So people, those who could not make it this time, my best wishes for them. Just work on the things where you feel there was some lacking. As we say in this preparation, answer writing is most crucial. So work on your answer writing, because ultimately your answers fetch you mark. Yes, prelims is definitely important. We just had the prelims also of the next year.
Yeah.
But again, having said that, answer writing is the key, and a regular practice of answer writing. Set out a time, say 1 hour every day, and do that regular answer writing, because once you are regular with it, it becomes very easy in the exams. You read a question and you know the flow of answer writing. So that is a general message I always give to the aspirants. Also revision, that is the key for this exam. Rather than running after a number of sources and reading the same thing from different books, follow a few standard books, few standard material which you have, or a few good portals that you are referring to, and just stick to them with faith. That is very important. For 90% of your topics, you should have one standard reference book or the reference source. Yes, there may be 10% of the topics where you need to consult a number of sources. You can do that, but don't run after number of sources. And for those who have qualified, yes, definitely Labasna is calling you. You'll be soon having your foundation course. So enjoy your time at the academy. There's a lot to learn and grow still. So that spirit should be there, that yes, we have qualified an exam, but as a human being, there is always scope to learn and improve. So even
Definitely.
10 years of the service for me, and I'm still learning. There are always fields, always people I meet, always situations I enter where I have a lot to learn. So I think that curiosity, that childlike learning desire should always be there throughout your life. So that is one message for those who have qualified, who are soon going to be officer trainees and then officers in the field. And never forget the root from where you come from. Be connected to the people. Ultimately, when we join any position, say as a district magistrate, to join a different district, it's most important to realize what that district needs. And it's only the people of that district who can tell you, because you join as an outsider. Like we were talking about Pilibhit, Abhi. So when I joined here, I had to ask people, I had to understand the city. Yes, flute makers were here. Tiger Reserve was here. So all these things you only get to know when you are connected to people and remain connected to your roots as well. So be humble. Yes, it was a blessing, divine's blessing, God's blessings, your parents' blessings that you made it to the exam, you cleared the exam with flying colors. But it is important to keep that learning spirit in you always uh, flowering. That spirit should flower in you, and you should remain grounded and remain committed to the purpose. You should not forget the purpose for which you joined the service. We have to help people in whichever way possible in our limited capacity wherever we are posted. That would be my little message for everyone, and all the best to the aspirants, and best wishes for those who cleared it.
Okay. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. It was really a great session, and I look forward to do this again sometime. So thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you so much. And thank you to the entire team. Thank you.